Well, I'd like to once again welcome you all here to Grace, and I'm just a little bit nervous, but today I'm going to talk to y'all guys about obedience, and obedience towards God. Obedience, in my opinion, my personal definition of obedience is just submission to authority. But I also believe that obedience towards God has that definition in it, but it also requires you to obey God fully, completely, and as soon as He commands us.
Very good.
I believe that it is difficult to obey every command you're given, and as humans, we always try to get out of tough commands that we really don't want to do. Like, I'll be sitting on the floor playing my Xbox, my mom will come in and say, Cody, do your laundry, or Cody, take out the trash, and I just sit there. I think about it a little bit. I wonder if I want to pause my game and get off my butt and just spend 5 minutes of my day doing something my mom told me to. And all that I really accomplish in thinking about it is I just delay the inevitable. I have to do what my mom says, whether I want to or not, which is also true for God. He commands us to do something. He expects it to be done immediately. And He doesn't want us to delay anything, because it will get done. Whether He wants us to do it or He commands somebody else to do it, it's going to get done. The Bible gives us many examples of obedience and disobedience towards God. One example of disobedience towards God is found in 1 Samuel 15. It tells us how God told Samuel to go to Israel and anoint Saul king of Israel, and also to give him a message to go and destroy the Amalekites in Egypt. And he told him to kill all the Amalekites, destroy all their property, kill their cattle, save nothing, leave nothing left alive. And so Saul gathers up an army, he marches off towards Egypt, and he finds the Amalekites. He kills all of them except their king, which he saves, and he also saves the best of their cattle. And then they go back to Israel. God sees that he did not obey his commands to the letter, and he's very disturbed with this, and he's regretting making Saul the king of Israel. So he tells Samuel about his troubles, and Samuel is greatly disappointed in Saul. So he goes back to Saul, and he tells him, why did you not obey God's commands? He told you to kill every single Amalekite, and you kept their king for yourself, and you kept the best of their property, which God told you to destroy everything. But Saul says, I did. I killed everybody. I kept their king and the best of cattle as a sacrifice to God. My favorite part about this is verses 22 and 23. It says, does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as He delights in His people obeying His word? To obey is better than to sacrifice. For rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance is like the evil of idolatry. Because you rejected the word of the Lord, He has rejected you as king. And so Saul is dethroned, and a new, better king is anointed. And it shows us that God doesn't want us to question anything that He's telling us. He only wants us to obey Him because we are His children. And as His children, we need to trust Him and just believe entirely in our faith that He knows what is best for the entire world, and we don't have to judge His commands. In my own life, I have disobeyed God many times, probably on a daily basis, but I don't know every time I've disobeyed Him. And He just takes it out on me. Every time I disobey Him, my life gets harder. I admit that. But every time I do obey Him, my life is better. So if we obey Him, our lives would probably be better if we didn't just ignore God. Because disobeying God's word when He tells us to do exactly like slamming the door in God's face. And that is not what he wants. He is extremely disappointed in us when we disgrace him like that. But just as the Bible gives us examples of disobedience to God, he gives us great examples of extreme obedience towards God. As found in Genesis 22, God told Abraham to take his son into the mountains and sacrifice him for God. So Abraham, his son, and two of their servants go into the mountains. And they reach a point where Abraham and his son start beginning to make an altar for God. About halfway through building this altar, Isaac, his son, asks his father, "Where is the lamb to be sacrificed for God?" And Abraham answers by saying, "God shall provide the lamb to sacrifice." After the altar is built, Abraham binds his son to the altar, raises it, and draws out his knife to slay his son. When all of a sudden, an angel calls out from heaven. He calls out to Abraham, and Abraham says, "I'm here." The angel says, "Do not slay your son, for God has seen that you are obeying him, and you are going to sacrifice your only son for your faith." So the angel says to Abraham a second time, "I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." So this shows, if we just trust completely in God, just give everything, our body, soul, mind, even our sons, he will recognize that we believe in him, and he will bless us greatly. But if you disobey him like Saul did, you'll be thrown out of the kingdom. In my own personal experience, I believe that God commanded me to come to this church, this specific church. I've been going to churches off and on for my entire life. Tried some. I used to live in Houston. I went to church a couple times there, and it wasn't the thing for me. But then we moved back up here to Oklahoma, and Kimmy and Alyssa and Trevor all invited me to come up here for youth service. And I believe that was God pushing them to invite me here. And I obeyed, kind of reluctantly at first, no offense. But over time, I have grown to love every member of this church. I love you guys. I have made so many more just amazing relationships in this building, on this property, than I have made my entire life. I count every single one of y'all guys as my friends and family. And I know that if God hadn't commanded me to come here and had I not obeyed, my life would be pretty bad. It would not be as good as it is now. Because my life, I find, as amazing because of this church. And I'd just like to thank y'all guys for accepting me as coming here. And I think I've done